What's going on, guys? Today I want to talk about some serious shit. So this is a video that I've been kind of struggling with whether or not I wanted to do, but I did hint at, wanting to do health videos and things like that. Let me just say right off the bat that anything I say in this vlog isn't meant to be any sort of prescribing any sort of medication or behavioral modification, if you will. This is just kind of my story, and maybe it'll help somebody else out there. Whatever, it's my way of giving back. Also, with my how-tos and everything, it's also a way of giving back, because YouTube has helped me out immensely in so many different ways. So, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this. So for the past, I don't know, month and a half or so, I've been on antidepressants. And the whole purpose of me wanting to make this video was to sort of alleviate the social stigma that's placed around mental health and, antidepressants, whatever, anything mental health related. Wow, that was fucking awkward. So as far as the social stigma around mental health and everything, that's kind of what I've been struggling with for the past, week or so, or whatever, in regards to making this particular video. I've been just sort of scared, nervous, maybe even embarrassed, if you will, because of the whole antidepressant thing and people thinking that you're just mentally screwed up or crazy. It's not really the case, and that's not the way I feel about it, and I want to kind of put that out there so that maybe to change people's perspective or opinion on the matter, or at least have a little more insight into it. So for the past, I want to say year to 2 years, I'm not even sure, the whole depression thing has been just building up. And I mean, I've always had a problem with anxiety and having these bouts of depression, but I've been dealing with it so long that I think I convinced myself that the way I felt was normal, and this is the way that everybody feels, and that simply isn't the case. I was good at faking it. Frankly, nobody would ever know that I had any sort of mental distress or anything by just talking to me or whatever, because I was able to just make it appear that I was okay, when in fact on the inside I was pretty much dying. So I know that, things like antidepressants shouldn't be used for, situational depression. And by that I mean, something happens to you, like you're financially hurting, or something happened to you. I don't really know how to explain it. But it's kind of common knowledge with, doctors and things like that. They're not going to prescribe you antidepressants for, a bad mood. That's, and rightfully so, because you shouldn't rely on a drug just for an isolated incident. And that's kind of what was the hardest part for me, because I kept trying to tell myself that everything I was dealing with was because something was happening to me. Looking back on things, it really wasn't the case. I've always had this anxiety. I've been an anxious person, and when I look at it, it's apparent in the way that I like to be early to wherever I need to go, because I have this fear of being late. I always have this fear of not getting something done that I need to get done. And while that's okay, it it interfered with everything. It became excessive. So yeah, there's the anxiety, and the best way to sort of explain the anxiety that I felt, because, you know, my anxiety is different than yours and the next guy's or whatever, but I have a fear of heights. If you have some sort of phobia or fear, imagine you're confronting that fear. That's what the anxiety felt like. Your whole body tenses up, you start freaking out, and it just becomes very difficult to function because it's just so consuming that you just can't do, you know, your most regular mundane task. It becomes difficult because your mind is elsewhere. Your body is just not there either. Your heart's pounding, your muscles are tense. It sucks. But perhaps bigger than the anxiety was the depression part of it. I've just been really getting worse over the past year or so, and I was going out less, I was doing less, I wasn't enjoying anything. I didn't even want to start any project for myself, and I've always been a tinkerer. I've always loved taking things apart and rebuilding things. Just haven't wanted to do that anymore. I just got so lazy and didn't want to do anything. The other thing too was the fatigue that comes from the depression. I've always been a tired person. I didn't realize how much it was wearing me out. Here's the thing, I didn't realize how bad that the whole depression thing was until I wasn't, if that makes sense. I didn't realize how bad things were until after I started the medication. And like I said, I guess I was just dealing with the anxiety and depression for so long that I just convinced myself that it was normal. But I guess over time, it got so bad that I felt the need to try and get help. And I admit that it took me probably a few months to actually get the courage to make the call to my doctor and go in and talk to him about it and, you know, explore some options. So after the visit or consultation or whatever you want to call it with my doctor, I decided along with my doctor that I wanted to try some, I don't know what you would call it, starting medications for antidepressants. And the initial ones that people go with are SSRIs. Those are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. That's a mouthful. It just means that it's going to rebalance the chemicals in your brain. Let's put it that way. It's the easiest way to explain it. So I was relatively fortunate in the way that the medication started working almost immediately. And by immediately, I mean within the first week. The first one I tried was Lexapro. That one, it worked, but the side effects were just kind of not really bearable because I was a zombie just all the time. I was just like twice as tired as what depression was making me feel like. So I was pretty much like, it's like taking a sleeping pill and trying to fight it. So we switched. I went on to a different one, Trintellix. I actually tried, and same thing. Multiple side effects were just really making it difficult to go about my daily routines and whatnot. So third time's the charm, right? I ultimately went on what's called sertraline, which is the medical name for Zoloft. That one's been doing good for me. I've got a minor side effect that I can deal with. And it's still working just as effective as the other ones as far as the depression and anxiety. So here's the thing with antidepressants. They don't make you do anything. They don't change your personality or anything like that. But what I see as the big benefits that I've noticed so far are that, one, they stabilize my moods. That's huge. I'm not all over the place. I'm not going from, really happy to super depressed or focusing on my anxiety. I'm nice and leveled out. So instead of having a low and then a high, low, high, and going up and down like that, it's kind of more of a smooth line, I guess, if that makes sense. So because my moods are stabilized, it has brought me more clarity and has allowed me to think a little more rational without being so emotional. I don't mean that to sound bad. It's not numbing my emotions by any means. It's just, it helps me focus, I guess, is the simple way to put it. So the antidepressants are actually just really the first step to, helping yourself out, to figure out what else you need to do. It helps you collect your thoughts. Like I said, it's clarity. So obviously the first step to, helping yourself would be to, at the expense of sounding like you have some sort an alcohol problem or something, you need to admit that you have a problem. And then you need to take the step to call your doctor and maybe figure out the best plan of attack for your particular situation. Whether it's therapy or, medication or whatever. The doctor visit is going to help you figure that out. And that's going to be super important. Like I said, in my case, the antidepressants were my big step in recovering from all of this. So the thing is, overall, that I'm happier, I'm more stable, and I have clearer thoughts, and I'm happy. The first couple of weeks, I do remember this one specific time I was at work, and all of a sudden I literally felt the weight of the world coming off of my shoulders. I didn't realize that I felt as crappy as I did, and I'm so glad that I got the help that I needed, and I'm making the steps to making myself better. So like I said, I'm not saying that medication or therapy or anything is right for anybody. That's something you need to help yourself with, and talk to your doctor, talk to somebody, talk to your best friend. Everybody should have somebody that they can talk to and help them to get help. The first step is to talk to somebody about it. I was able to talk to my wife about it, and she was supportive and helping to kind of nudge me in the right direction. Alright guys, so I know that was probably a really long video, and it ended up being me rambling a lot, but hopefully you get something out of it. I just want to put it out there. I know I shouldn't be embarrassed or ashamed about anything with what I've been going through. And that's the whole thing, removing the stigma around mental health. Because here's the thing, if you're sick, you go to the doctor, you get medicine, right? Yay! You did a good job. You treated what was wrong with you. But it seems like if you have a mental problem or psychological problem, people are looked at in a different way. And that's not fair, because mental health is just as important as your physical health. In fact, your mental health can affect your physical health. So you need to take care of both your mind and your body. Okay, so I know I probably missed something, but if I did, when I review this, I'll put it in a next video or a mini episode during the week. So, as a reward for you sticking around, if you had, let's do a little speed run. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.